Hi guys. I know my last video wasn't very well received, and I'm gonna keep it up, but just a disclaimer that that video is still gonna be up even though it wasn't very well received. But today I'm going to be talking to you about divorce, as you can tell by the title. I am not divorced. I am the child of a broken home. So I just wanna talk about that because I know there's always people that are gonna go through it, children that are gonna go through it. So I just want to share a little bit about my experiences and maybe help someone out there. That'd be nice. But anyway, my parents divorced before I was even 1 year old, and I was never told the reason. I still haven't been told the reason. I have been told that it's just because they didn't love each other anymore, but my sister and I speculated over the years that it could be a different reason. I'm just gonna go with what my mom told me, that they just didn't love each other anymore. And when my parents divorced, it wasn't like I never saw my dad again after I moved to Michigan. I was born in Ohio. I saw my dad about twice a month, I believe, and he would come. We would meet halfway about in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I would go down there for a weekend and then come back up to Michigan and go back to school and all that. There were a couple times where he asked me, Megan, do you want to move in with me? And I always said no, because I loved living with my mom. But the part that I think I know my sister had a lot of trouble with this because she's older than I am. I didn't particularly have trouble with this since it was like right as I turned 2, so I hardly remember it. When my mother remarried and we lived with my stepfather, it was easy for me to adapt. It was like, it's like when you learn a language at a young age, it's easier to pick up on. I think having 2 fathers at a young age is easier to pick up on than somebody who's older. My sister, I think, was 6 when they remarried, and his children were in their teens. So it was really easy for me, but I know I was treated like one of his children. Laura, on the other hand, while we were young, I remember her not particularly being treated the same way I was. I remember me being treated better. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because he did practically raise me. That could be a reason. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of situations different than mine. I know there's a lot of people out there whose parents will marry and divorce, marry and re-divorce, and it's a lot of drama. My family didn't go through a lot of drama. It was mostly me trying to find out who I was, because there was a time when I was a teenager where I was looking at my stepfamily, who I am closer to than any of my other family members. I know they are blood, but these are genuinely good people that took me in and made me feel like their granddaughter or their cousin or their niece. And to my oldest stepsister, I am her children's aunt, and it's just like, I know that doesn't happen in every situation, but I'm so thankful it happened in mine. It's just, I'm sorry. But you just need to know that it is not your fault if your parents divorced. I went through that time too, where I was like, it's my fault. It happened right after I was born. It had to be my fault. What other reason could there be? I'm sorry. But the truth is that these things happen. Divorce happens every day, and that it just happened to hit you. And I promise that if you get even remotely as lucky as I did, because I lucked out so hard, that you're gonna get a loving, caring family that will be there for you regardless of if it's broken or not. Because I think that's a horrible term for it. It's not broken, it's new. Don't ever refer to yourself as a broken home. You're a new home. It's a new beginning. And I'm not a Christian, so I can't say that every time God closes a door, he opens a window. But it's true, the universe works itself out in a way where everything will get better. And it's not your fault. And there's some reason for it to happen. And that will show itself in time. So don't be afraid to ask questions to your parents. Like, why did it happen? And if they aren't ready to talk about it, then they aren't ready to talk about it. It's deeply personal, I understand. But just try. I promise. Life will work itself out. Okay, guys. I'm sorry I cried in this.